decide this moment.
You can just, he'll decide, he's usually a last minute decider.
Yeah, don't pressure
Yeah.
yourself. Don't pressure yourself. Same thing, everybody's sort of,
Okay.
okay,
Thank you.
yeah, you don't have to.
This is amazing.
I even told
This is
Valerie,
really
she doesn't have to.
I can't.
No, it's good, yeah.
Yeah, but you're here. So.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it.
That's the
a
main
lot.
thing,
It's
right?
really nice, yeah.
And you're all from South Carolina?
Savannah.
I
Savannah.
live in Fort
Okay.
Lauderdale.
Okay.
But I was raised in Savannah, we were all, yeah.
Gotcha.
From Savannah, yeah.
Yeah.
I did, I don't.
Well,
I think
welcome.
they're
Thank
in the
you.
lavender
Yeah.
room.
Is that where they're gonna stay?
Wait, so where are the pictures?
There's just photos
What's
of
that?
them and not
Then
like
she
a-
said there was pictures, are there pictures?
Well, I don't know,
Yeah.
I said if you can get them up, fine, if not, whatever, I don't know.
I,
We have a picture.
How many bones are there?
206, right?
Is that what your hip thing was? Is that what you're pointing at? Your hip replacement?
The rod down here.
Yeah.
How many phones are there?
A lot.
206, yeah, I just said that.
It's been so long since I've been here.
Look at the.
Oh, yeah, name all the times.
I don't think I've ever been here.
Ribs.
I remember the hand.
Well, they kind of, they, you know, found it, I guess they weren't here as much as they were from the. Yeah, closer to the. The valley's working.
We're in Rockers, just in here.
You're gonna test the microphone. Hello, testing for the live stream. Hello. Maggie's here, Shane is here, Martin is here.
So you think it'd be better?
Valerie's
to have
here.
them
I think it would be better to have them in one room.
Oh.
Put them up here or there, but I want you to see,
Oh, I want, did you just
we
put
put
this
this
in?
in, so people will come in this
This is
way.
mine.
Aw, hi, honey.
Yeah.
And that one. So I'm thinking of like, something like that.
Do you think we can do the, if we could do them like here, and then there's some room.
So, so that,
Do them like.
we're gonna put 7 or 8 of them, new warrior guys in,
The board?
Here, because then they
whatever.
show up.
That'll be,
Okay, you wanna do that, or
Well, people are coming
is
in.
it a big deal to do that?
good,
To move
I
them?
think so.
Yeah, I think it would be better to keep it in one room.
If you take one of the bigger ones, they'll
People
do a
don't
guide.
make it into the other room.
Just let her do her thing.
You know, it doesn't mean sit there the whole time, like once
Sure,
the
sure.
drill, we're good.
Hanging out right now.
Hello. The green room is for the
This is
food, food for potluck after. This is the main, where you wanna be.
Okay, are we no shoes?
Not that I know.
Okay.
Not
that you know of.
I went to school here a very long time ago.
Yeah,
We did
wow.
not wear shoes in this room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
And it
nobody
was
had shoes
The
on.
green room, and
Everyone
it
was
had green
barefoot.
carpet, so
Everyone
obviously
was
there's new
barefoot.
carpet, so new rules, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, rules change, you know, sometimes.
Well, you know,
Sometimes for the
26
better.
years later,
Yeah.
you would expect maybe, you know? Ever evolving, you know, ever evolving.
Is that your spot? We'll probably sit farther in front, but. Like over here? Yeah, closer to the front. You can sit wherever you want though.
Yes.
I'm Jennifer. I'm the person you caught.
Oh, you do have to fix her.
fit right there.
How about up top there with that, where the, yeah.
Well, we have two more.
Oh, okay.
Strings.
Okay. Yeah, it'll push it the wall.
We're not in our facility.
In that green. Are these all the pictures that you pulled out?
No, there's more, there's more.
Yeah, but these are all the that you pulled off.
Yeah, I can't remember, I got so many. Go in the green room. Okay, good.
You've got a check. I have some checks.
Hi, Eric Amity. I'm Valerie. Her nephew, and then this is Brittany. My brother.
What?
Girlfriend, yeah, partner, and then that's Raven over there. Oh, that's awesome. I know. What's your name?
The other one got up. You need, I'm gonna put a few of these up.
We got two more strands in here.
That's why it's low. Yes. Put it all the way down, 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 down. There's room.
Right there is.
Somebody's got to decide.
Let Jakey do it. He's longer arms, longer everything.
I would say, let's shoot for that table. Expect to see you. What a nice surprise.
We're still like that, but it gives me careful.
Yes, thank you. You only need like 4 more.
Yeah, those are, yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
This is the tag man now. We're gonna pin her up.
The other one broke. I don't know if it's the length
All ball. That's good, as long as it's not. Yeah. There's still one more.
Trying to figure out.
The guy next door heard me, right?
Yeah.
How about this?
Yeah. Set up the chair.
Still the only place where
Yeah.
We have MC.
Yeah, you have to say what you get. Exciting. Yeah. And you have that's all that matters. I'm sure there's stuff to forget to pack.
No, you were shocked for a minute. We're gone.
Hey,
Yeah.
not including me in the whole thing.
Like flowers that we can do there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, suggest, that looks very nice. That was my drum. He gave it to Eric. Yeah.
Are you family?
I feel a little like him.
Yeah.
But,
This is Jack.
Hey, Jackie. Yeah, I did. Yeah, either way, it doesn't matter, but I miss Michael. I'm so glad I got to see him. I had a really good talk with him at the end. I asked his advice, and what do you think? And, gave me his blessings, of course, or whatever path I chose, but it was. You look good. I'm glad you texted me because I didn't get the message great until you texted me. Yeah. Yeah. Super glad. And you've been adjusting but you were a caretaker. That's like very good right there. To me, and it drives so much of this. I mean, it's all beautiful. Yeah. All the other funny things will come up. Yeah, like a light. Yes. Caribbean.
Not a good shape.
Everything that goes along with that,
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. This is death don't have no mercy in this land. Spiritual.
We want to move the mic a little closer to you. We figured out on the fly, right? Welcome. So good to see everybody. Glad that everybody's here. Those of you who don't know me, I think I know most of the people in the room. My name's Martin, and I'm up here simply because Michael was one of my dearest, bestest brothers and friend. And yeah, so I think it was 21 years ago, 2005, a number of men in this room did some training in men's work. And a little closer. Anyway, in early 2006, a small group of us, I think there were 7 of us initially, decided to form a small group that would meet together regularly. That decision was made 20 years ago, and we're still meeting and getting together. I put some pictures out on the table over there of some of us. But anyway, when we started that, I didn't hardly know Michael. I didn't know most of the men in the group that well. And what this group was about us getting together in a deep way and revealing ourselves to each other, being transparent, creating safe space for each of us to explore both the outer landscape of our lives and the inner landscape of who we really are and the things that we face in the course of our life, the challenges, the struggles. And through the course of doing that, we became really good friends. And Michael and I were a bit of an odd couple in the sense that, one classic sense, he had to go to Vietnam. I protested Vietnam. But we did share the tumultuous time in our lives that happened back then that had profound effects on both of us, and especially on Michael. And, you know, we did very different work in the world. You know, he did his work down here. He was a boat captain. He was a woodworker. He did all sorts of things. Very different than some of the things that I did. But we found that we shared so much. You know, I like to talk about politics and world affairs and history and certain sports. Michael could care less about any of that. But it didn't matter. And the reason it didn't matter is because we connected here. We loved each other unabashedly. I felt like I could talk to Michael about anything, and he felt the same about me. And we liked to take walks in nature together, whether it was the prairie or Bivens or Sweetwater. Sweetwater was always fun because he taught me about birds. I didn't know much about birds, but Michael was a bird man and took some amazing pictures of birds too, as I remember. We went on beach trips together. We went to Cedar Key. We found this spot in town that we could meet for lunch. It's not there anymore. It was called the World of Beer. And it was on 34th Street. And the reason we ended up there is because they had this really nice outside area, and they would let us bring our dogs. And for Michael, if he could bring Buddy, he was a happy man. The two of them had a very special relationship. I think Buddy was one of his most precious souls that he connected with in this lifetime. And so we would meet there, and Buddy would be with us, and it worked. It worked. He took me out back when we first started becoming friends. Michael still had a boat. And one of the things you may hear about from other people, he was a boat captain at one point. And he would take people out on excursions. And so we went out on his boat off of Cedar Key. I don't know if the story's funny anymore, but we ended up going for a little hike, and the tide went out, and the boat got stuck on the shore. And he was like, I can't believe the first time I take you out on my boat, we get stuck. But we managed to get unstuck. And yeah, you know, I was thinking about, I guess you reach a certain point in life, a certain stage, where it's easier to reflect back on the arc of our lives. And I was remembering how early on in my life, memorials were always kind of sad and depressing things. And I forget when it was the first time I saw an invitation to a memorial that was called a celebration of life. And I remember thinking, that makes way more sense. I like that. And you know, as I reflect on it, though, I love the celebration, And each of us deserved to be celebrated. Michael, because he was so dear to so many people in this room, certainly deserves to be celebrated. But I realized that even though we weren't focusing, I wasn't focusing on the sad part, I still feel sad because I miss him. So, that being said, you know, when Michael was struggling with his health in the last couple of years of his life, and his besties would go to visit him, and I think a universal experience that we all had was how much grace he held his situation with. I used to think, I don't know how I would deal with this. I don't know if I could deal with it. But Michael never complained. I was remembering there was one time I went to see him, and he'd be in his bed, and I'd always lean over and give him a kiss on his mostly bald head. And I said, "This does kind of suck, doesn't it?" And he goes, "Yeah, this sucks." That was the only time he ever, and it was only because I asked him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have. So much grace, and just such a lion of acceptance, you know. In our group, you know, we're all different, and we each bring something different to that little circle. And for me, it was always palpable what Michael brought, because it was always about the heart. And he was kind of a master, I thought, at if you'd be working on something, you know, some deep wound or something in your life that has troubled you or caused you sorrow or pain, he would always say, "Where do you feel that in your body?" Which was so informative and allowed you to take that and embody it and feel it and hold it in a different way. I always loved him for that. I used to bring our dog, Papaya, down to Val and Mike's place for doggy play dates. And that was always fun. I think Papaya would sometimes get a little overwhelmed, depending on who was trying to mount him at the time. What's that?
It was Buddy, it wasn't Shotzi.
It was Buddy. But Shotzi and him, they were great, like scampers. They would scamper around like crazy. So anyway, I miss him dearly. It's hard for me to imagine that he's not in my life in the way he was for a long time. And I just have a little poem I'd like to share, and then we'll move on. This is called The Life After Tears by Mark Nepo. In the life before tears, there are endless plans, and we avoid the difficult feelings at all costs, as if grief, pain, and loss are canyons we'll never climb out of. But then, one day, while not looking, someone dear dies, or a dream breaks like a plate, and our world, as we've known it, is blown apart. Then we discover that falling in the canyon is our initiation, and the river at the bottom is the only water that will keep us alive. I wish it were different, but the reward for being hollowed out is that the song then sings us. So I'd like to invite one of Michael's dear sisters, Cindy, to come up and say a few things.
I'm really nervous, so just bear with me. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy, and I'm Michael's youngest sister.
You're a little soft-spoken.
And my thing I want to say may not be as moving as what Martin had to say. Thank you. But it has a happy ending. Because my heart is full of pride to see so many people here to celebrate my brother's life and share much-deserved accolades. I would like to share my experiences with him throughout my life. There were 4 siblings in my family, with Michael being the only boy. He teased and bullied and traumatized us girls to no end. When he finally left home, it was probably 10 years until I saw him again, and I was filled with trepidation over seeing him, and he hadn't changed. He made fun of my gay friends, he made fun of me for having gay friends, and he mistreated my boyfriend, who was a person of color. When he left, there was no loss from me for him. In 2013, our sister died of pulmonary fibrosis at the young age of 60. Her last wish was that we who were left got closer. After that, Michael and I began to call each other and started to build a bond. In 2018, I got divorced and my life was in shambles. I didn't know, I was lost. And Michael was there for me like a rock. With his patience, wisdom, and guidance, I was able to find a path to lead me where I wanted to be. I will always be thankful for that. It truly cemented our bond, which I will cherish until the day I die. I loved and will miss my brother more than I can say. And I'd also like to add that even in his last days, he could still be an asshole. I just have a little poem I want to share. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you, and the old life that we lived so fondly together is still untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used to. Put no deference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it has ever meant, and it is the same as it ever was. There is absolute unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well. Nothing is hurt, nothing is lost. One brief moment, and it will all be as it was before, and how we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again.
Thank you.
Are there any other family members that would like?
I'm Mary Jo. I'm Michael's older sister. We actually shared a birthday, as we shared a birthday with our father. I was born on my dad's 26th birthday. Michael was born on my first birthday. I never had my own damn birthday. In fact, a story I'd like to share. When I turned 60, I was really excited. I lived in Battle Creek. Mike was here in Micanopy. And I was so excited about turning 60. Don't ask me why. But I thought, I'm going to throw myself a party and just celebrate being 60. I didn't even invite Michael because I thought, for once in my life, I'm going to have my own birthday party. Is that too much to ask, right? And so we made the plans and got the food and the invitations and everything. And the day before the party, I was out at a local restaurant with my husband and some friends. And I turned around, and who was sitting at a table nearby but my damn brother? He came to my birthday party uninvited. So I never have had my own birthday. Sadly, now I will. And I'm going to miss him a lot. We had our moments, our ups and downs. We were estranged for a few years for reasons I won't go into. But he found the grace to reconcile with me, and it was great after that. Everything was great after that. And it was hard for both of us, but we got through it. And I think it made us both stronger and strengthened our relationship for sure. Cindy and I were talking on the way here, and she said, I still think it's ironic that the day before Michael died, he told you what a bitch he thought you were. And how, because I corrected him about something, or I did something that he didn't like.
You didn't do anything, it was just out of the blue.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, which, didn't take much, I guess, yeah. Yeah, and, but, we all knew that wasn't really Michael sometimes. Usually it was, because like Cindy said, he could be an asshole. But we always made up, and we knew that we would always be there for each other, no matter what. And the only reason I mentioned the estrangement is because in some ways it brought us closer together when we finally did reconcile. And the time that we had apart, I think I became a stronger, different, better person. And I don't know what the hell happened to him, but he finally decided to forgive me for whatever wrong I had wronged. And I was glad of it. I was glad to have him back in my life. And but I still never had my own birthday. But sadly to say, this year, October 7th, is going to be kind of sad for me. So, happy birthday to me, and happy birthday to Michael. Thank you. That was totally off the top of my head.
You ready? Words brought up for me that whereas Michael exhibited so much grace, Valerie exhibited so much care and devotion.
Yes, agreed.
So, another of Michael's dear besties, Eric Diamond, is going to share something that he wrote and speak a little. And after Eric goes, we're going to move into open mic, so anybody that has anything to say, feel free.
I think I've been in a daze since Michael left this plane, and I'm still in it. But in the daze came these words, and I want to share them to start. There was a man. That says it all right there. There was a man who had a boat, a man in a boat atop the water. Within the water, fish, awaiting communion with the man. People felt at home with this man. People, hound dogs, even birds came toward this man to be seen fully and well, to feel known and regarded fully and well, for Buddha love. One could know, finally, that there was nothing to know. We saw that the leaves had turned, and it was enough. We were together, and every leaf seemed divine. A man of the forest can enter his forest body fully and well. A man of the waters can enter his water body fully and well. Michael, how can you be gone when I can still see you smiling? The first time I encountered Michael was about 50 yards from here in the little outbuilding, attending an intro talk about this men's initiation experience. And he was sitting on the floor with his hands behind him with a white hair. And my first thought was, this is a Vietnam veteran. There's something about the energy and the stature that it's hard to pin down, but that was my first thought. And Michael and I and Walter Heyer, who's here, went together with Jeffrey up to Atlanta and went through this experience. And then during that experience, the men there created a really intense ritual for Michael about coming home from the war that affected me powerfully. And we made it through our initiation, and for some reason, I don't really know, we were in a very giddy and silly, euphoric state on the way back. Jeffrey will probably remember, unless he's trying to repress it, he might, that in typical fashion for me, I had threaded a microphone through the ceiling of this van and was playing rock and roll, and we were out of control. So we get to a rest area in Georgia, and Michael and I were extremely silly and almost manic at this point. And a prim and proper Georgia church lady, kind of lady, came toward us, and I could see she was formulating a question. I could see it coming. She comes toward us and she said, "Are you all artists?" I said, that is really a delicate, and anyone that knows me, given an opening like this, I'm going to be pouring through it with. I said, absolutely, we down from our gallery in Greenwich Village, and you have marvelous, exquisite art in Atlanta. I mean, I'm going all the way for it. Michael's hysterical. The thing that occurred to me yesterday is that this woman saw something. It really was a love affair, a kind of love affair that we had for 25 years, and I certainly had no concept of the depth of brotherly love, and I've never felt lonely again since that weekend, really, because of that bonding. That changed me, for sure. So when I got clarity about how I wanted to give my gifts to the world in the form of men's retreats, Michael and Jeffrey here, I don't know what to say, jumped right in to support me and to be shoulder to shoulder with me. And I want to tell two stories that exemplify what I received from Michael. This theme is the same in both stories, and I'm doing it consciously because some things should be underlined that are important. The first one was that I'm telling was the first night of a father-son retreat that we put together, and I was in a tent, and Michael was in a tent, and I did not sleep really hardly at all because I knew that the program, I felt or intuited that the program I had laid out for 100 people was wrong. It was misguided. So at 5 in the morning, I had enough. I woke up and there was a lake there with mist coming off it. It was just dawn. And I go to Michael's tent and I'm like, Michael, the program is wrong. Now, up comes the zipper. He gets out, does not question anything, does not say anything, walks around the lake with me in the dawn and listens as he did at, I don't know, cosmic levels of listening until clarity came to me about what we needed to do. And I'm guessing that that's experience that hundreds to thousands of people had here at the massage school, and maybe almost everyone that knew him. To be supported like that is a real blessing, just a massive blessing, right? Isn't it? You guys with me? On one of our men's retreats, the same story basically. I was late at night and I'm like, Michael, we need to have circles painted on the ground. Big circles, red, white, and blue, like the Olympics, the rings where they overlap. And, I think normal people would seriously question this or, I don't know. He didn't say anything, but when I got there the next morning and went outside, there were the circles. And, this kind of faith, I gotta call it, this faith in me that I got from Michael and Jeffrey changed my life dramatically. They convinced me that I was a leader of men, for sure. And I don't think it's like a normal, healthy thing to paint circles, but the competence that he was so competent. I mean, it was just incredible. Like I don't know how you make a circle on a ground. I have no idea. Without an airplane, but this is the kind of stuff he would do. He was good with his hands, and he had faith in me and us, and that. Down the back stretch, a lot of this, a lot of our thing went on in hospitals and in places where I would never want anybody to be. I want to honor Valerie, by the way, who vacated her home for 15 or 20 men's retreats. And that's why she's the queen mother of the Gainesville Men's Center. And made cookies before she left, the whole thing. And I like what Martin said about the grace that Michael showed. I guess I'll finish by saying that I tried very hard to return to him what he gave to me, and I don't know how close I got or whatever, but I gave everything I had to return what I received. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so now it's open mic time. Anybody have anything they want to share? Don't be shy.
If I did it, you can do it.
Uh-huh.
That is true.
I think he's coming first.
You're next, Aaron. I've been in this room many times, looked out at people. I knew Michael through massage school. And we shared a couple things that were very, very important to me. One was a love of the water. I've worked professionally on both coasts fishing. He took people, he transported boats, and so we shared a love of water. And we would meet in Archer at the, it's now a Circle K in the little grocery store that's changed hands several times. One of us would park our vehicle, we'd get in the other's car and drag a boat to Cedar Key. Go out on the water, thrash the water for fish, occasionally catch some. Actually, more than occasionally. We usually did okay. And talk. Because, we'd have a couple hours in the car and 4 or 5 hours on the water. And we would talk about life, we would talk about school, we would talk about ourselves, our experiences, stuff. And that's really special to me. Because in this life, it's hard to find someone to talk to. And one of Michael's gifts, which has been pointed out, was acceptance. You could be with Michael. And I mean that in the sense of the words, you could be with Michael. Sometimes I'm not so pretty in my being, my movement in the world, my thoughts, my whatever. And Michael would be, okay, you can be. And that's a really important thing. Making space to allow somebody to be. Because we don't get that, and it's really hard hiding yourself. It doesn't work. Chews, eats, bites, whatever you want to say. Hurts the soul. And so I really appreciated that about Michael. Another thing that we had in common was a care for people. Michael did communication, did polarity, did Swedish, did the fundamentals, was a listener. We offer listening hours here. We don't call it counseling because we're not professional counselors. And we have to watch if staying in our scope of practice type of stuff, the professional thing. And so Michael would offer this ability to listen and to help people sort, find themselves. And he did it with grace. Not an easy thing to do. Not an easy thing to do. One of the things that I greatly respected him for, as was pointed out by Martin, he was a veteran. And he took great pride in that. Great pride in being a veteran. It's kind of wild, getting to an age where many people that I now deal with have no clue about what Vietnam was. And the price that many people paid for serving in Vietnam. I was blessed. I was operated on when I was a little kid. I graduated from high school and I had 3 physicals and I wasn't physically fit. They'd had to operate on me in order to take me. This is 1966, right when everything was heating up. I'm not sure exactly when Michael was there, but he was there, and he walked trails, went up and down mountains. I'm imagining, he didn't talk about it much, but I'm imagining saw friends killed. And I'm imagining may have killed people, because that's war. War sucks. We can glorify it all we want, but it pays a tremendous price on those who go. Michael paid that price. He came back, hence the group work and the stuff around that. And then he did something that I really, really respected. He took people back to Vietnam to help with his own healing and to help others heal, and walked trails and villages and places where, it had not been such a nice memory type of place. Not been such a nice memory type of place. And met with fellow warriors from the other side. And I remember one of the strong things I remember him telling me was he was amazed they didn't hold a grudge. Even though they'd been shot at by these people and shot at these people. They were brothers in war. And I really want to honor that. I tried to always remember that when Veterans Day came around to call Michael or make contact with him and thank him for his service. There but for God go I. Because it could have been just as easily me. A lot of people didn't come back. And so Michael shared that kind of stuff and brought that about men's work. I finally made it to a men's group. I hang with Eric. And the thing that I appreciated is I can tell my story and I can listen to other people's story. And that's what we have to share with each other is our stories. And there's a wisdom in getting older and being able to share some of the stories. And so I wish I would have kept better contact as Michael deteriorated. I am not super proud of that. Thought of him often, but as a pattern in my life, I think about people, I don't so much reach out and make the contacts. A shortcoming, maybe. Me taking care of myself. Sometimes it's painful to watch the deterioration of people. And so I think of Michael, and I'm thankful that I got to know him. And as I finish up, I'd invite everybody to close your eyes for a moment. Think back on a time that you maybe had with Michael. Visualize him. And visualize him. And hold that in your heart. And hold that in your heart. He was a sweetie.
Lovely to see you all.
Or you could take it out.
So I knew Michael here at the Florida School Massage. I started working here in '97. He came shortly after. And very early on, he told me stories of Vietnam, of how he, just the raw stories, like of hiding in the woods on patrol, just hoping not to get killed. And so that was my first introduction to Michael. And then Then, in his work at the school here, he did a lot of work with developmental trauma and doing trainings, exploring the therapeutic interventions for different stages of developmental trauma. And that's something that I've carried with me, what he told me about that for many years, and now finally I'm actually working on it. So thank Michael for that. And then the only other thing would be that Michael was there for me introducing the Mankind Project along with Eric. So that was my introduction to doing the men's initiation. And then, we proceeded in Gainesville here to build a really beautiful community around that. And a lot of those men, those early men, are here today. And yeah, a lot of that started with Michael in my life. And it's really refreshing to know that he was also an asshole. I had no idea. No idea. I'm so glad that he reconciled with each of you. That's really great.
Isn't it lovely that he brought so many people together? The best thing about him. I'm Ian Campbell, been doing massage therapy for 43 years. Don't want to retire, love it. And the only time I really had a lot of contact with him was through classes. And because he had a love of water, we vibed on that. And it's interesting, when you guys are here later today, need to think about him because he brought us all together. And so many common, wonderful people in Gainesville are together because of him. He's fine where he is.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here with you. I came down from Tennessee to honor Michael and to honor Valerie. Surprisingly emotional, so I just love Michael so much. I have to tell you, Val, you guys are like my surrogate or chosen aunt and uncle. Since I first came from New Orleans to go to massage school here in 2000, and you guys were the first place I landed and opened your doors while I figured out where Gainesville was. I came because they had a music school. Actually, they had a music room. And I landed in this community. And you all were the first people I saw and the last people I saw, with, of course, this wonderful community in between. And that was 26 years ago. But since then, I'd been through hurricanes. I went to meditation retreats. I became a doctor, quit being a doctor. I brought someone I almost got married to who you want to meet. I didn't get married. I came when my mom died. You know, the acceptance and the love, just the unconditional welcome was something from elders too, you know, from people who had seen more than I had and done, was such a gift. It's so unique in my life. And all kinds of things happened in between, right? You know, this wasn't a daily, relationship or a relationship based on geography at all, but at the most important times when I needed counsel, you and Michael were there for me. Even this last December, when I was visiting him, I said, you had left, and I think that, some home help had left, or there was a moment, I said, Michael, I need your advice, So what do you think of this? And because he held so many, I had permission to be all these things because he was all these things. He was a warrior and a healer. He was had a loving person, but also had a hot temper. We mulched your yard together, and we talked about Vietnam and healing and God, you know, all these kinds of things. And that gave me permission to be all these things as well. And it's kind of a level of authenticity, you know, to not have to be anything, except I guess as many people say, just be. So anyway, I'm really grateful to Michael and for his presence in my life, and I'm really grateful to you. And I just want to say thank you, and help him, help him lift off into the great beyond. Not that he needs my help, but I know he thinks about all these things. He allows, permission. He told me stories about spray painting and protesting Vietnam while at Fort Benning, and then going to Vietnam and fighting in the war. I mean, you can be many things. You can be an angel in a meditation retreat and also yell at your dog when you do something bad. That's just like a very, very human thing. And never did you all ever tell me what to do or how to do it. You all were always just an open door. And anyway, it's nice to hear from everybody who is close to, because it reminds me to be more open and to give people permission to be all the things they are, the loving brother and the asshole brother, the wise sage and the goofball, all these things. So anyway, Michael, this is for you.
Michael and Valerie are our next door neighbors. Somebody in between us, but we never let that happen. Michael was a deeply, deeply spiritual person. He knew the Course in Miracles, something that I had studied as well, and we would talk a lot about it, and we even started a Sunday service in their house, in their beautiful little cabin outside their house. And that was so amazing to me, that all of a sudden, meeting someone a few years before, that we could have connected on that level where we both, and the group that joined in, who celebrated every Sunday, who we were and the depth of commitment we made to our lives. All of that is so much a part of who Michael is and was. And at the same time, he was like he was like the cat that had 9 lives. He had gone through so much in his short life that it was astounding. And I wasn't there for every step, because I wasn't in the Army. I was way too young to be in Vietnam. It was ridiculous. But from then, I don't know about his childhood, but I do know that was not an easy experience, nor was coming home, nor was getting adjusted. And then he was in, all of a sudden, what I knew, you were in Tybee. They were in Tybee, and I know that during that time, he was a he was a creator, he was an artist, 100%. He was an artist in every way. And yet, he lost 3 of his fingers during a thing. He went on. He got a car. The car crashed a few days later. He went on. His dogs died, 3 dogs in those years. That was so painful. And he went on. And sometimes I didn't know if he could go on. I never met anyone that in their lifetime time after time, something really dramatic happened. And yet, he picked himself up, and he had some faith. And I remember when he had that interferent, I don't remember,
Hepatitis C.
Yeah, hepatitis C. That was kind of like the breaking point. That was the point where we did not know that he would go on. It's something like you have a 20% chance of, I think it was 20%. I'm an exaggerator or an under-exaggerator, but anyway. And go for it. Go for that 20. You've kind of managed to do this upon everything that was compromising you in your life. You can get there. He got there. He got there. He's been in and out of hospitals. He's been touched and tortured, and still got back up. And then at a certain point, and I think that's the point that why we're all here right now, I think that he had some deeper connection with Spirit, God. I don't know what you want to call it, but something that was starting to call him home. That it's not like he gave up the fight. I don't think he would ever give up a fight. I've never seen him do that. But I think that this feeling, this need was so deep, and that it was his time. And that time still took a couple of years to just go from that space. He was just so present during that time, even though you thought he was sleeping. You'd go and visit him in bed those years that you have helped take care of him, I heard. And certainly Valerie she gets the Valor Victorian Prize for the best wife in the entire universe. Make sure you're around when I go. Yeah, but honestly, those end months was some of the most beautiful pictures of humanity that I could see. He had bird feeder outside, which delighted him. He had his dog on his bed. He had lovely women serving him. And I said, Michael, how are you doing it? He said, this is the best time of my life. This is the best time of my life. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to work. I don't have to sweat. I don't have to do anything. I can just be. And I was just like, oh my God. At that point, I knew we were getting really close to this day, or a few, actually, it's a couple of months already since then. So, was he something special? There's no doubt in my mind that he was something special, and a really, really good neighbor, and a beautiful friend, and a loving being, and I usually cry all the time. I'm so happy that I'm not crying, because I think that time has come and passed for me, because I know that he made his own journey forever, and that's good enough for me.
So I've been a friend of Michael for quite a while, but the way Michael touched me was the way he gave love. And when I would see him, I would always hold him, and he would hold me. And when I would visit, I'd ask him if I could kiss him. And I'd ask him if I could feed him and touch his hair. And he said more in silence than most people say with 1,000 words. And he gave me love, and I gave him love, and the love was bigger than both of us, and it was it was a gift that he had. When he would lead some sort of whatever we were doing in group, a lot of times most people have, this is where I want to go. I know what this guy needs. He never knew what I needed. He would sit there for 5 minutes until I knew where I needed to go. And it was an amazing thing that he had. And the last thing I want to say is, I never would say Michael, it was always Michael and Valerie. And Valerie, I could stand here for 5 hours and not say enough about Valerie, her bravery, her love. It was something amazing. And I honor Valerie with all my heart. She was amazing. She is amazing. I'm going to go give her a hug, too.
Both microphones are lively and good for you.
I need probably both double barrel microphones. Is this okay? Okay, good. Thank you. My heart is pounding. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to speak to Michael as a teacher. We, for many, many years, we co-taught a class in communication that we always called the trauma class, because it was really about communicating when trauma was in the field, when trauma was activated, when it was activated in us, when it was activated in somebody we might be meeting with. And I learned so much from Michael. And it wasn't about content, it was about being. You know, I've heard so many people mention that, his quality of being. You know, we never knew what we would be covering in the class. We did a lot of thinking about it, but we never, ever had a sense of, well, today we're going to go in and this is what we'll be talking about. We always opened it up. And whatever showed up in the class was where we went. And it was rock and roll sometimes, let me tell you. You know, I'm in this room and I'm just thinking of how much this room has held over the years. And, you know, and we did this for years, so we would, of course, over those years, show up in different places. You know, sometimes I'd come in and I'd say, I don't know if I can do this today, Michael. And sometimes he would say, I don't know if I can do this today. And we still, we just, I couldn't have done it without him, and he has said the same. Although I'm sure he could have. But I just learned from him about attunement, presence, heart. Go with the waves, go with the weather, go with what's showing up. And, it always distilled to some kind of love and deep respect. So, I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to leave without expressing my deep gratitude and love for Michael and honoring him as a teacher of what is, a teacher of being with what is. So.
I would say one thing too, and I was probably in my early 20s, and my sister's about 3.5 years older than me, but I'm so great to be standing here in front of all y'all, and it took a couple of years for us to get acclimated to them moving from Tybee to Micanopy. The first couple trips down here, I was like, what in the world, where are we, what are we doing, and this is the school with these big hands and arches, but now meeting all y'all and hearing you talk, it's awesome because they've always, since the day they met, have been very powerful people together, and they decided not to have kids, but every chance they had, Michael had and Val had, we were going to the movies. I was at his shop. I used to cut his grass for him at the house and the shop and a couple other properties, and I would get so tired I would pour the gas out so I didn't have to finish. And Michael could really be an asshole at some times. But on the flip side of the coin, he could be the greatest guy ever. So we shared many moments together, flying kites, fishing, crabbing off their dock. And when they had the marina, it was like a free-for-all for me because, they had boats accessible, gas was free, food was free. I could take the boat in and out of the water whenever I wanted to. Fed seagulls together, everything, dolphins. Yes, definitely an awesome person, and I'm so glad they moved here and met all you awesome people. And the one thing I do remember, I'll never drink his cream soda. It didn't matter if there was 6 in there or 2 in there. If one went missing and I was around, it was. But I'm so glad you all showed up, and that's it.
I just really want to thank you, Cindy and Mary Jo, for coming down here, moving down to be with your brother. It's so beautiful of you to uproot your lives and come be close with him, to support him. Yeah. My name's Jeffrey. I am a neighbor to Michael and Valerie and have known them, I don't know, 25-ish years. And to be in partnership with Michael has been a great honor and blessing. To do the men's work with Eric, we probably did about 25 weekends together of exploring the masculine, and Michael's role was in many ways the elder, and he Eric and I would do a lot of logistics and wrestle with what we were going to do or not do, and Michael just was the steady anchor for that work. And I love that Hart brought up, that Michael had maybe more than nine lives. It was just incredible. He had a skill saw, and it caught his pants or something, and like came within a millimeter of nicking his femoral artery. And of course his hands and his fingers, and flipping the truck and the boat and the interferon was really painful and powerful struggle. And what I was telling my guys because we've done a couple rememberings of Michael in our group, having been together in a special space for 20 years, there's a hole in all of our hearts for who he is and was for us. And I was sharing that one of the ways that I felt Michael was this soft power, where he just stood so firmly, but without. Now I know that he was an asshole. I love that has come up a few different times, because he did have an edge, but when it really came to holding the space for other people, he had this consistency and way of just anchoring what was important, and with patience and that beautiful and gentle smile of his. And I can't help but wonder if Michael was poisoned in Vietnam. To me, having a neurological condition like that, what the hell was that mystery? And I, it was a cost of his bravery and also of the war, of just being in that space where he was being inundated by a lot of different things. But I don't know what caused it. I remember Martin and I walking with him, and he started stumbling a few years ago, and then it was a progression, and of course he broke his hip and in and out of the hospital. But the way in which you showed up, Valerie, in particular, to just be there as this unconditional, deep devotion is a modeling that has touched so many of us in the way that you love Michael. And I don't feel like I'm that familiar with death, or certainly any good at the grieving process. And I have to say that it's been soothing for my heart to hear people share, and just to look and see this room. And I believe that Michael would want us to just continue to hold each other in support. And so I just want to particularly direct that to you three, that you're not alone. And Valerie, of course, we are here to support you in any way that we can. And thank you all for coming to honor and celebrate Michael.
Sometimes I pretend that there's always more time to connect with the people that I care about. I don't remember when I lost touch with Michael, but I was thinking about it today, and of all the people that I've met in person, Michael has had the biggest effect on me. Every time I ask somebody, well, where do you feel that in your body? That's Michael. Every time I recite guest house to help people to understand mindfulness, that's Michael. I too have an edge, and I'm not always the easiest person to know or get to know or to be around or be in the presence of. It's a testament, I think, to Michael's patience and presence that I had no idea that he didn't respect me or like me when I started coming to him for the listening sessions. I had only realized that I had been in pain maybe a year before I came to massage school, and I figured out exactly how much pain I was in. And if it wasn't for Michael listening, I wouldn't have completed my time here. If it wasn't for Michael encouraging me to go deeper, if it wasn't for Michael holding space as I figured out my core wounds, so whether I'm doing body work or working with special needs children, there's an approach that I have that I learned from Michael. Michael helped me to become teachable. Sometimes I fall off on that, but despite the fact that I rubbed him the wrong way, at least when we met, Michael kept meeting with me. And then I went on a retreat and I met Jeffrey and I met Eric, and it was suggested to me there that I might be a leader. And nobody had ever validated that in me until I was sitting there with Michael and Jeffrey and Eric. Sometimes I pretend that there's always more time to connect with the people that I care about, and I hope that this time that lesson sticks, because I now live in a world where I can't just pick up the phone and see if Michael will answer. But I am so much of the person that I am today because Michael gave a shit about me. I'm so much so much easier to be around because Michael helped me to soften my edges. I am also glad to know that Michael was also an asshole. All right, cool. I'm glad to know that he was also a human, like me. I think Michael was the first man I ever really loved and felt safe with, and felt that in return. I got the honor of doing getting to practice body work on Michael, and his feedback has been invaluable to me. I keep trying to recreate the neck work I did on him the last time that we worked together. He just I feel safe around men because Michael was a safe man. And I can connect with other people on a deep level because Michael took the time to just listen to me and cared about me. I will keep rambling if I don't end here, so thank you for letting me come here and celebrate Michael with you all.
Hi, Valerie. I'm Jen, and I went into my cedar chest a few weeks ago, and Michael's kind of a guide. He signed my application form for massage school, and that's just one milestone that he's been part of. I worked at the front desk for a long time. I studied reflexology. I was grateful he was one of my clients. Got to wash his feet. I worked really hard scrubbing them because he was a barefooter, walking the trails. And those feet were hard and calloused, but they had really nice soft spots. I'm not trying to do any bad HIPAA thing, but just resonating with that, with that sense of the feet being solid and in tune with nature. I touched his abdomen, and he said that felt like home. I just appreciated his presence. The students loved him so much. You'll see many photos with Michael in them. He was such a marker for groups. He married me and my husband. And I remember doing a couples retreat at Jeffrey and Hart's with Michael and Valerie. And I just looked at these couples as so strong and committed and so loving. And I feel like that was a great gift to me and my husband. He's home with our kids right now. So yeah, he married me. And then, like at some point, I was buying a Subaru. I was pregnant with my second child, and there was Michael. He was buying his Subaru. And he said, "Can I come take pictures when she's out, or when your baby's out?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And he did. He took beautiful pictures of my family in our field. And there's just so many moments that I know he held me in a loving way, like a daughter. And I just, you nourished my family so many times, Valerie. It's been such an honor to witness you and your love. I imagine it's been hard. But he's so lucky he had you. Yeah. And his passion for photography and just the wisdom of going back to Vietnam and taking photos of his experience and treasuring all the land and animals and the people and sharing that. And the photos on the walls in the hallways. And I just, like, he had an eye and that presence of, like, the beloved of what's there. I know that he's a gatekeeper, and he'll welcome us back in, wherever he is. Yeah. The polarity speaks, and he taught polarity. So I just love just hearing the balance of Michael. So keep sharing. You know, I felt myself percolating and popping, and I just wanted to share my milestones that I got to be with him. So, thank you.
When I came here, I think it was you said, you saw like, this guy must be a vet. I remember as a kid, I grew up commercial fishing and boat carpentry. And a lot of times we go to the docks and we work on these yachts, and some of these guys are Vietnam vets. And I knew a Vietnam vet when I saw them. They had this quiet confidence, this unshakable nature about them. And they were all assholes. I think what made them one way was the same thing that made them the other. Some things are hard to grow out of. Some things are really hard to accept. And sometimes not all wounds heal, man. Sometimes we go on in our own way broken. And I remember talking to Mike. I was a combat vet. I was 11 Bravo infantry, just like he was. I was in Iraq, he was in Vietnam. Two totally different climates. We've both been boat captains. We've both been fishermen. We've both been carpenters. And I'm not like Mike in a lot of ways. I don't feel a need to connect with people. I don't really care to talk to people. It's funny I became a massage therapist, but I like helping people. I love helping people, but I just don't connect. I just, you know what I mean? It's my own brokenness, I guess. But Mike was telling me the story, you know, about this reconciliation trip to Vietnam, and the story really changed my perspective. It was like, man, it was my first trip over there. I'd already been to massage school, and I'm working on this guy. He's my age, and he's Vietnamese, and come to find out, he was Viet Cong, and he was in this major Christmas Tet offensive, and I think it was 68 or 69, and he was attacking the same fire base we were at on that Tet offensive. He was like, so that year we were shooting at each other, and now here I am talking to this guy, and he's face down on my table. I was like, man, how you not shank that bitch right in the neck right then? That's what I would have done, you know what I mean? It's like, man, it wasn't like that at all. It was like for the first time, it's like I really feel like I really experienced what it meant to let go. It was like the most natural thing. And I was like thinking of me because I was still fresh from Iraq, you know, not too far out. And when I came back, I was freaking unhinged, man. And I was thinking, I was like, man, I wonder if I was at that point. I think about some of the people I met, and some of the characters I ran into. I was like, no, I ain't there yet. You know, it took me, I feel like I am now. But it gave me a goal. It gave me a mile marker to get to that point. And I've heard people say it before, along with the other things about Michael Pierre, is this level of acceptance. And to me, that's the biggest lesson Michael's taught me was acceptance. Things don't go the way we want them. We get hurt, we carry the scars, and we move on. Charlie Mike, as we say, you know? I just want to say thank you, Michael.
I'm going to try to be brief and concise, even though there's a lot going on in here as I think back about Michael. So much of what's been said, I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, he was so many things. But like, what puts Michael in this upper echelon of like the best people I've ever known? I'm like, what even was it? You know? I came to this school as a student here in this massage school, and he did the listening hours and this vast, infinite ability to listen. And I forget who else said, he never saw the problem in other people. Oh, this is what's bothering you. He would let you find it. But a lot of people can listen, not everybody. So it's not just that. It was like, what else? I knew him through men's work too, later on. More listening, reflecting, guidance, compassion, going with, helping, carrying. And in there too, because it's explicitly, you know, what the work is about, finding the highs and the lows of us as men, myself, the best and the worst parts of me. And he would see all that too, and he's like, okay, you know, we'll do it. We'll do it. Let's go. And finally, I realized here, thinking about this, he's, to me, where I put Michael amongst all the people I know in the world, in the best, most elite category. Because he sees in other people, and he saw in himself, so much highs and lows, good and hard parts, light and dark parts. And he said he showed this. He didn't say this. He demonstrated it every time I saw him. Since we're here, alive, let's do it. Let's be alive. It's good that we're alive. Maybe we didn't ask to be born, much less all the things that have happened. But since we're here, it's good that we're alive. Let's do it. that's what I saw him do, and it's a tiny little, box of people that really do that, despite seeing so much, right? It's not like a superficial level of like, yeah, man, life is fine. No. You guys know. You know Michael. He saw so much. And he was like, yeah, this is good. We can do this. We can do this. Whew. What a thing to see and be around, right? It's amazing. I'm glad to be here with you all and share some stories and remember some things and honor this really, really special person. That's why I'm here.
Martin and I were just communing and saying that trying to decide if we could be in this zone forever maybe and be a beautiful thing. There's no rush. On the other hand, it's a lot of sitting, and the community will be plenty of time to schmooze. So can I see hands from people that are whose insides are working their way up here that want to speak, who have not spoken that want to speak? Okay, so we'll have that. We'll work our way toward the closure of this. There's not a lot of food and snacks and everything, but for the kids, let the kids go first. There's some snacks, some goodies in the green room. It's another room here. Maybe is this the green? I don't know.
No, right, the green room.
The green room, the blues, and plenty of opportunity to hang out and put love on the family and so on. So I'm going to bring this wonderful person up here, and if there,
You don't know me.
if thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your vote of confidence. Okay, so I can't possibly say anything that would be any different than what anybody else has said here today, but can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking to the microphone would be great.
Yeah. But what I do want to say is the spirit of this place, that I was here in 2004. Michael, Valerie, Kathy, Frank, Pete, he's not here, I guess. So many others, Maura, Paul, and so many, Darren. Every one of you made this place what it was for me. Michael was a big part of that, and Valerie, because they were those quiet, patient, loving people. I can't tell you how many times I went in and talked to Valerie about stuff in the bookstore because she listened. I couldn't do a lot of the letting go in class that I wanted to, because the class I was in had so many people that were releasing, and I didn't want to be like in the middle of everybody else's releases. So a lot of things that had started happening here kept happening in my life. And Michael and Valerie, we were supposed to go on a trip, I think, to the Springs, and I don't remember if it was a rain forecast, but all of a sudden we changed, and Valerie and Michael opened their house up, and we had a party out there. And it was great, and I'll never forget. Is it an octagon that you have?
Yeah, we do have.
I went in there and fell asleep. It was amazing. But they were just that, they always have allowed. I never once felt like I was being judged by them at all. I wouldn't say I felt judged by anyone here. I don't know if you guys brought that or if it was already here, but you were drawn to a place where you belonged to help to create more of that.
And it's so important that people get called to places, because there's no place like this place. Not in my life, there never has been. And Michael was teaching communications class. I remember it was about the going to the nursing homes. And a lot of people got really freaked out about going to see old people. You know, like, we're there. I was blessed to have great-grandparents in my life until I was in my 30s. So, and my grandparents passed away after I was a grandmother. So old people didn't freak me out. And I started crying. I remember crying because of the reaction. And I thought, because I felt so sad for these young people that were so afraid of the older people, that they were afraid to go to the nursing home. But Michael handled everything beautifully. He was just so good at communications. After class, he came up to me and we had a one-on-one conversation. And I don't remember what was said. All I remember is I walked away feeling like elevated from that interaction with Michael. And this just, thank you, Valerie. Thank you so much. I thank every one of my teachers that I had here, because my life's never been the same. And I'm not saying it was easy. It's not been easy. But it's been, I've got the strength that I didn't have before I came here. So, thank you all.
We got one more.
One more? Ah, I know you.
So I was moved, not much else I can add, but I was so honored to have sat in circle with Michael for 20 years and have him as a friend, and the things he taught me resonate with me today. Perseverance and just the amount of love in the man's heart. It just still amazes me, and how he was able to transcend his challenges and move above them. And also it occurred to me yesterday how he really did exemplify the hero's journey of being churned into a war at 18 and being wounded and being able to find his way back. And much of his life was about finding his way back home. And it was so heartwarming to see him back at home in his bed at the end with his two loving dogs, and Valerie and Mary Jane and Cindy there for his last birthday party. It was so heartwarming to see that he finally found his way back home. And so I just wanted to say, welcome back home, brother. And I wanted to share one brief other little anecdote that some of you may have experienced. He had a tendency to like to make cookies. These were not your ordinary, you would not give these cookies to children, so to speak. And at one River Phoenix benefit, he brought a number of cookies and handed them out to a certain circle of his friends that he knew would appreciate them. And there were two sizes. One was the small one, which he says was the mild one, and then the big one was the strong one. So we all, thinking we were being very cautious, decided, oh, give us the small ones. Needless to say, two men have to be driven home that night, and I don't think I remember anything else from the whole benefit. But so if you got every chance to have one of Michael's cookies, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you, Michael.
Sorry.
Yeah, this brought up some more memories. I'll try and keep it brief. I know everybody wants to either go or eat or both. Two things. When Michael's started out his journey with being ill and not being able to walk. I had just gone through a pretty shitty divorce and was living on my own. And I got to thinking, you know, why not move to Florida? Why not go down and spend some time with my brother? And I hated the winters. It was cold, and I'm not a snow person. And so I talked to my sister Cindy, and I said, "Are you interested in maybe coming with me?" And sure, so why not? So we decided to move to Florida.
We lived in Michigan.
Yeah, sorry, we lived in Michigan. Thank you, Cindy. Anyway, so we made the move. And a couple things as a result of that, I had in my head, you know, we're going to come down to Florida, we're going to do stuff with Mike, we're going to do the birding stuff and the walking the trails stuff, and nuh-uh. We helped change his briefs, as Valerie so lovingly called his. We helped, trimmed his nails for him, but Michael never, ever greeted us without a big smile and how you doing? You look great. He never complained. I mean, never complained. He'd get angry once in a while.
You'd ask him how he was doing, and he'd say, "Great."
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
He
I
was
know.
always
Mind-blowing.
great. Always great. He was always great. And so I like to think that we maybe were a little bit of a help to Valerie by being here. We wanted to be. Maybe sometimes we were more of a hindrance than not, but it was always out of love. And one of probably the best thing that happened is that my sister and I have developed such a bond now that it's unbelievably beautiful. And Michael is truly responsible for that, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here, we wouldn't have grown together and then gotten to where we are. But he never complained. He'd get mad once in a while. And he'd blow up, and rightly so, you know. I've been more pissed off than he was most of the time, and he just wasn't. He was always, he never greeted us without asking, "How are you? How you doing, Mary Jo? How you doing, Cindy? You look great." Always, every single damn time. He never failed. I'm gonna miss him a lot. But like Cindy said, now we're the bookends. I'm the oldest, she's the youngest. We've lost the two middles. And but we're in Florida now. She hates the heat, I love it. So but we're working it out. So thanks for letting me spew some more. But I wanted to bring that up because I think it was important. And because, you know, you reminded me, Jeffrey, that we did move here for Michael. And it was a big thing. It was the move from hell. It cost me a lot of money. But anyway, I'm glad, glad to be here, really glad to be here. We've made some absolutely fantastic friends. And Chelsea, you need to be recognized, girl. She was with Val and Mike
Chelsea
for
is
a
a
whole
rock.
year. And
so we can
he took good care of Mr. Mike, as she always lovingly called him. And she was with him for a year. Never missed a day.
She loved Michael and Valerie more than anything. She even commented that she felt like we had made her part of our family. And I think that's important. She took such impeccable care of Michael and took a lot, like she said one day, oh, I could tell stories about Mr. Michael.
Oh, I bet.
So, thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah, she's the best.
Thank you so much. So, anyway, I'll shut up now, but thank you so much for being here and honoring our brother. He was all of our brothers.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Nancy?
You're going to be the last one. And also, nobody has to rush out. We have the place, I think, till 6, so when we stop this part, feel free to mingle, hang out, see what people may have brought in the other room.
After Sean. Hey, Sean.
Hi. So
Use your microphone.
I've been here as long as Michael and Val, and I couldn't not get up and just say, this has been a really wonderful, heartful, just, it's like a consolidation of all that was so beautiful, and that's all. And two things. One, it wasn't until Michael was ill and we were together at your place, Val, that I learned that he was the photographer that he was. And I was blown away. There's he's captured such essence in the beauty in life. And the other thing that I want to say is I've heard, a lot of missing, and I in the last 6 months have come to a really different place in my belief around death. I've gotten into this thing of people and their near-death experiences, and I believe with all my heart that the body passes and the soul remains. And just, if that's a stretch for you, just maybe from time to time open and wonder about it, and know that the veil is so thin between where we are and where he is. And I am no longer afraid of dying. It's something, as I aged, it was more and more concern. I don't have a single ounce of me that feels worried or afraid. And I look forward to meeting up with spirits like Michael that I loved. That I can't say anymore. It was just, he was one of the family, that just meant so much to me here. I've been here for 40 years. I'm ready to kind of close this chapter very soon. Some of the best memories. Yeah. Thank you for the extra time.
Wow, it's been a lot. Thanks for taking part in this love fest. It's been really sweet.
Someone else is coming up.
Does somebody else have something they need to say, or? Okay. As I experience more loss in my life, particularly recently, Michael being a big part of that, the lesson is, for me, to remember to love and appreciate each other while we can, because it's not permanent. So, yeah, let's hang out and introduce yourself to others and...
Give out hugs.
What's that?
You have to give out hugs.
Oh, yeah, hugs are required. If you see somebody, give them a hug. As long as they got 2 legs, 2 arms. And again, thank you all for coming.
Well, thank you guys all for organizing it. It's great. Can I get
almost every guy here.
I'm not mad at
Just wanted to say hi. Didn't know we had these circles.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
You have a question about the horse? Tell them I'm having you.